and also his committee members, Dustin Seaton. Dustin's here. I saw Dustin. There he is. And Mike Setco. I saw Mike. There's Mike. And Ellen Thompson's on the committee. I haven't seen Ellen today. But I do want to thank the committee for all their work in getting this put together. Of course, most of all, I'd like to thank Kyle Kellams for agreeing to be our conversationalist, and also especially Senator Pryor, who is our featured attraction. I was telling the story that I was a deputy prosecutor starting in 1975 here for Baylor Gibson, and then I was elected in 1978. Barely, but as the prosecutor, and you signed my commission. Barely, because you left on January 3rd of '79 to go to the Senate. And Governor Purcell he was Lieutenant Governor, Joe Purcell took your place. But you still got to sign my commission, and I have it somewhere in the things I've taken home from my retirement. But I treasure that, Senator and Governor. But we do appreciate you coming, and thank you all for coming to this. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Maylin Rice. I want to thank Clark Bueling, our banjo player, for all their
I'm going to flip the program a little bit here. I'm going to introduce our moderator first. Kyle Kellams is a treasurer for this community. A late banker here in Fayetteville, a community banker one time, asked him to draw up a list of 10 people for the future. Kyle Kellams was on that list. Kyle does, as we know, with KUAF, teaches at the University of Arkansas. He also has Ozarks and Large. He's the brainchild behind that. It's a great program every day of the week, and Kyle Kellams is indeed a treasure for this community. Kyle, come on up and take your spot. It is with regret today that David Pryor's #1 campaigner is not with him. Barbara's somewhere else. Of course, she's a native of Fayetteville. Barbara Lunsford, we will miss her today. She's on other business. My association with Pryor started in 1965 when he was running for Congress, the 4th District. My grandmother, who was the first cousin to the only man to ever beat David Pryor in the election, she was a McClellan from Scratch Out, and that's here in Edinburgh. But Barbara Pryor charmed her on the streets of Warren during the Pink Tomato Festival, and that's why I'm wearing my pink tomato tie. That was yesterday down there, and it's a big political event, it's a big social event. But Barbara was down there working one side of Main Street, David was working the other. She had on flat shoes, had just given birth to Mark about 8-10 months before. And in those days, the ladies carried a purse. It was about a little pink basket. She had hers filled with plastic sewing things that said, Pryor for Congress. My grandmother tatted and sewed. And she stopped that young lady and she asked her how many children she had, and Barbara engaged her in conversation. And until the last time this man ran, my grandmother voted for David Pryor every time, even against her first cousin. I had 65 election, I was 11 years old, I couldn't vote. And David had some fierce competition. There was this guy from Hope named Chuck Hunter. He was a lawyer, he was sort of a shady kind of guy, but he won that time. So Chuck went out to the West Texas Beekeepers Association and got them to loan him this mechanical bee. In 1965 in South Arkansas, anything that moved like a robot was big stuff. This bee, as you pull it down there, they hit a lever and it raise up. It could be 8 wings, it could be shaved like it, and whatever it is. Bell might. Chuck Honey had the best jingle of anybody I've ever heard in Arkansas politics. It was honey in the morning, honey in the evening, honey for Congress. David couldn't beat David Pryor, who worked both sides of the street, campaigned hard, and became our 4th district congressman. My only other association, a long-time association, was with my mentor and friend, Bob Newton, Warren, who's passed away. Bob said one time he came over, David had an address there for sale, and he had the Ouachita Citizen. And that was a complex piece of machinery of massive under the address on the newspaper. David had one for sale, because he was selling newspapers, one in politics. And Bob Newton came back and said, I was over there 25 years ago, and there were 2 US Sen sitting at the table, and they were eating fish sticks. That's why David Pryor keeps getting elected. It's just like the years later. In 1975, when he was running for governor, he came to the Pink Tomato Festival, and I did a front page story for the Pine Bluff commercial. A farmer said, look at this tomato here, David, doesn't it look good? He says, what's for dinner? He said, well, just hold you a big old bite. And David bit down that tomato. So I leave the Pine Bluff commercial on Sunday. He goes, good. David Pryor, he doubled it. Thank you for coming, and I engaged in your conversation.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Senator, thank you. Thank you to the church, the congregants, those who are here, those who are not, for doing this. You know, listening to Mayor talk about those elections, it sounds so much more innocent than in the 1960s and 70s.
It was more innocent.
Was it? That was my question.
It wasn't. I thought he was going to talk about that bumblebee that Chuck Honey rented that time for that campaign, 66. I thought he was going to bring up in 1974 another campaign when I was running for governor. When Governor Wallace came out of retirement, we ran against each other. He rented from Eureka Springs somewhere an old calliope. And on the calliope, or in the calliope, or whatever, he had paid former Governor Jimmy Davis of Louisiana to come to Arkansas and campaign for him. And they went all over Arkansas singing, "You Are My Sunshine." He had written, and that's hard to compete with. We survived that place. There were so many great old campaign stories. But Cal, you're absolutely right. It was a more, I don't want to say a more innocent time. It was a different time in politics. And it seems like yesterday. Now, Taylor, I said, you were first name. Did they say you're head of the statehood committee or something like that?
Of course.
Well, that was 1836. I was around then. I missed that election. We came into the state, by the way, the same year as the state of Michigan. And I was asked to, during the Democratic convention, to make a talk to the Michigan Democratic delegation. Why they chose me, I don't know. All I could think of, John Dingell, the representative, introduced me at that meeting. And Kyle, the only thing I could think of to make any sense, big room for delegates and other people that had accompanied them to where we were at the national convention that summer. But all I could think of, I said, you know what we have in common? We have in common the fact that we came in the union together. Oh, that was a big cheer. They all got a kick out of that. That was the end of it. I didn't know what else to say. Thank you, Kyle. Thank all of y'all for coming.
When we're at the height of the political shifting, does it make you wistful or nostalgic for those older campaigns in your political career, or are you more happy that you're not in it now?
Well, I've watched it. I've watched, get glued on a lot of TV stuff. I watch it. I know a lot of the, still I know a lot of the cast of characters who are involved, of course, on the state and some on the national scene. I could go back to the Senate today, and I hate to say that probably of the 100 members of the Senate, probably only maybe 25 or so that I served with. I don't know. They do a good study. I would go back to the House of Representatives, and there is no one that I served with in the U.S. House any longer. John Dingell retired, and his wife, by the way, took his seat. I served we had one thing in common. We were both former page boys. He was older than I was, about 10 years ago. We were both page boys in his house. I was a page in 1951 here to laugh along about that time. But I guess I miss some of it. I get agitated about it. I cannot imagine how it has gone this far into depth in our campaigns and in our, quote, lack of civility that now the parties and individuals have for each other. I cannot imagine what people call each other in public, you know. That's something that didn't happen. I can't imagine the US Senate floor, the decorum that we used to have. I guess you would call it the dishonor that some senators bring to the Senate chamber by calling one another the names they do, referring to one another as what they do. It's a sad time. It may come back. I don't know. I hope it will. Maybe the general public will demand that someday it's going to come back and be, I don't want to say like it used to be. It's always been tough, don't get me wrong, but it has never been nasty like it is today.
When you were a politician, there was no Twitter, there was no internet. Some Arkansas cities and towns got 3 channels, others got 1. You had to use local radio. It's a lot of retail. You had to go to a lot of small towns. I can't imagine running for Congress for 32 years. There must have been a lot of travel by car.
Oh, it was mostly cars, you know. I had a huge congressional district. Jonathan Bingaman of New York had a district. He could always tell me that he could go around his district in a matter of, I think he said, 22 minutes. He could go around. I wasn't one to do it vertically, you know, in the economy and province and whatever. I said, it takes me 22 hours to go around our district, covering from Texas and Mississippi, Louisiana, and Tennessee, Florida, our district, Mississippi, I should say. But anyway, it was a huge congressional district. We traveled mostly by car. When I got to the Senate, it was a little different. From going from Layville to Fayetteville was a long drive, and so I would have to rent a plane and do that sort of travel. We traveled quite a bit by plane. In the governor's office, we traveled a lot by plane. The governor's office did not have a plane. We borrowed it. The state police had a plane that they had gotten in a drug. And I'll never forget taking off one day in that plane down in the Pineville Airport. We took off, and I decided not to travel in that plane anymore when the door blew off. So I think the governor's office, I hope they have a plane right now. It's a pretty big state when you try to cover by car. But we traveled just about every way you can imagine, different ways of transportation.
2-lane roads, most of that.
Most of that time, yeah. We didn't have the interstate like we have now. From Fayetteville to Little Rock, you travel a much different way than you do now. The 3 hours it takes now. But it's been a great time. I've enjoyed every mile of it. I guess you could say it's been a wonderful experience for me. And I'm talking about barely getting elected in 78 in your position. I barely got elected to the US Senate in the same year, 1978. I was running in a race with Lake Raycorn. I recently did the Ouachita. I was running in a race with Jim Guy Tucker. They were both outstanding young congressmen. I was the seated governor. And that night of the first primary night, I literally went to bed at the governor's mansion, not knowing, one, if I ran first, second, or third, whether I was going to be in a runoff the next 2 weeks, or exactly. Well, I didn't know if I was in or out. Now, finally, at 2 a.m., I said, heck, I'm going to bed. So I went to bed and got up early and found out that I was in the runoff with Jim Guy Tucker. And so, that was a pretty tough 2 weeks, I might say, that didn't see it.
I want to ask you about your family, because your mother, I think, was the first woman to run for elected office in Arkansas.
My mother, I think, was, to the best of, and some of you better historians may can do a little research on this.
Yeah, this is a rough crowd.
Yes, it is. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but as I said, I met a 100-year-old woman one time, and I didn't know how to engage in conversation with anyone who was 100. I said, you know, so crazy me. I said, oh, you see a lot of changes in your life. Yeah, and I've been against all of them. I will say that my mother, and she's still a single lady, that time in Camden. Her father had been the sheriff. No, excuse me, yeah, her father and her grandfather had been the sheriff of the county. My father was ultimately the sheriff of the county, elected in 1938. But my mother ran the circuit clerk of the county right after women got the right to vote. And she ran against a World War I hero named England Plunkett, who had lost, isn't that right? Who had lost his leg in World War I, and he kind of found hero. And my mother ran for circuit clerk, soundly defeated by England Plunkett. I ultimately, years later, defeated her son, got England Plunkett's son in the race for the state legislature. But that's another chapter, another story. But my mom, I think, was the first. I said, Mother, did you run because of women's rights, and equal rights amendment, and all that? She said, are you kidding? She said, I didn't know anything about that at that time. All I know is I needed a job. And that's why she ran for. She needed a job. And I think the job paid about $1,200 a year. I'm not sure. So it's clerk of Ouachita County.
Did you ever talk to her about how things had changed in Arkansas for women during her lifetime?
Not a great deal. She was an activist. I don't want to say she was on the front line. She didn't engage in what you call marching. She didn't hold any signs up or anything. But she was on the front line. She established in her own right something that they called, or she called it, the community house. And it was for underprivileged children in Camden down on South Adams Street. And she was very active in helping organize that and raising money for it and keep it going, you know, over a number of years. That was one of her main, I guess you'd say, missions. My mom was also, she went to the mission field. We were Presbyterians, and she volunteered for a year in Virginia in 1956 or 7, along that period, 56. And she volunteered and truly lived in the jungles of Virginia and taught the missionary children English. She taught them English and taught their children English. She lived in the jungles with the missionaries' families and she, even when she passed away, she still had enormous wealth and old scars where the varmints and bugs of the jungle had, chewed on her, flashing cigarettes. But she did that. She was a woman of a lot of passion and kind of, I guess you'd say, a great sense of public service.
You were growing up in Camden in the 1930s and 40s. Was it a small town?
Small town. It was a town of about, oddly enough, when I went to Fayetteville to school for the first, when I enrolled in school here, I'd been 1 year in Henderson. But Fayetteville and Camden had the same population, 15,000.
Wow.
Yeah, 15,000. And what Fayetteville's population was, Camden sort of moderator, stay the same, or even go down a couple thousand. But we were kind of a small home in Camden. But in Camden, an interesting thing happened. About a year and a half before the war ended, the president and the powers that be in Washington needed a big space to not only manufacture but to test missiles. And they came into Camden, they chose Camden, and they took that first they took Barry Murphy's big farm out north of Camden, and several thousand acres. And that became a proving ground, and this is testing ground. We became almost overnight in Camden the largest missile manufacturing plant in the world in just a matter of a few weeks. It was amazing. People came in from all over the country, maybe all over the world, moving to Camden to get those big defense day jobs at that time. This was the important for the early 45, I guess, maybe 44. And I remember we had been on a little trip down to Mississippi. We drove in our driveway, like 10 years old, we drove up in our backyard. And there were two tents in our backyard. These were workers who worked out of the plant. They didn't see right home. They set up tents and were living in our backyard. And you could have, they would bring a hamburger from the sanitary facility at the hot spot. They would literally auction. They would bring a hamburger out of the kitchen and auction it off. I mean, that was how frenzied things were at that particular time. Fascinating moment in Camden's history. And people stacked up, trying to get rooms and apartments and homes and just space to live in. We had two workers upstairs in our attic, living in our attic. And it was just an amazing time to be alive in Camden, Arkansas.
I'm just curious, how many people here grew up in Arkansas? Okay. So you may relate to this next question, because I'm curious. I grew up in Arkansas. And again, this was before the internet or any cable television. For me, growing up in Arkansas, I was keenly aware that I was in Arkansas and we were not the most advanced place. Whether it was a joke like Johnny Carson or something like that. Did you experience that in your private life and in your public life when you moved out of the state? Was there a perception?
It was kind of an unspoken sort of feeling, I think, about our state. I'm drawing a blank. All I did was the humorists, the national humorists that make fun of us. Back, some of you older people,
Bob Burns.
Yeah, Bob Burns, probably, always the hillbillies. And that kind of sticks, and it sticks in our craw even to this day. This is not a good image for our state. And in 1957, when we were just about through that era, that period, and regained our own momentum, I guess you'd say, the 57 crisis occurred. There we were again trying to dig out this whole public relations wise and image wise. And we ultimately have done it. President Clinton being elected certainly helped. Certainly, I believe he elected President of the United States. That wouldn't hurt. I won't get into politics over this afternoon. Even though I am a Democrat, I can't hide that. But I really, it was tough. I feel like we felt that we were not up to par on some of the, what you might say, the more advanced things.
Did you feel that as someone growing up, that you were in a state, I don't know, if you listen to the radio or later watch television, that there was a feeling that we weren't quite getting things as quickly?
I didn't sense it. I never sensed it. I never felt it. It didn't impact me in that way, I guess. I felt they taught us in school that we were the only state, some of y'all can remember this. You could build a wall around and you could survive, we had all teachers, we had chickens, we could always survive. We got lots of stuff in there, things like that, we could always survive as people in this state. But that was probably not all inaccurate, certainly in this day in times probably not.
They were still teaching that in the 1960s.
That was probably a result of Bob Burns' era. Somebody said, we've got to say something that's going to help boost our morale a little bit, our egos a little bit, and our self-esteem. So they probably started teaching the public school system. We're the only state that, we live in the only state that can survive. Warren Buffett made a statement not too long ago that said, if you're born in America, you've already hit a home run. That's a good thing. That's the sort of thing we need to have in our psyche, I think, he was born in Arkansas before he hit home run. We are, who knows, we will someday achieve that. I still feel it right now. We hit a home run and we live in our state.
After college, the Ouachita Citizen,
Oh,
the weekly newspaper, right?
Weekly paper. W-E-A-A-L.
What's the weekly newspaper? Of course, it was a different world for newspapers then. Was that a major source of information for readers?
I wish I could say. I wanted it to be. I got out of school. I had to drop out one year. I became ill. I won't go into that. I spent several months in the hospital up there. Strange part of my life. But, well, I'll take a look at that. I was losing the sight in my left eye. And anyway, they sent me off to this specialist up in Henry Ford Hospital. And anyway, I stayed up there for weeks and weeks. And I had to drop out of the University of Arkansas. I think I was a junior or sophomore there. But came back, switched from business school to political science, which was good news. I was never comfortable in business school. And as I moved along through the university system and through my academic time here, I met Gary's wonderful sister, Barbara, and we decided that after I graduated, she was still a freshman, and we would move to Canada and we would marry on Thanksgiving, which we did, at the First Methodist Church. By the way, I was initiated into the SAE chapter of this particular church.